In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a professional YouTube intro with After Effects. We can think of it as a nice looking video that you can use in the intro of the videos on your YouTube channel. First, let's create a new composition. It can be 1920 by 1080 and have a black background. Let's make it a 10-second intro. So we will also need to change this to 10. We can also define the name of the composition as intro. I click on the OK button and we have a new composition. We will use round forms. So we need to use the ellipse tool here to draw a round shape on the scene. Click on the word stroke and select none. We will not add any outline to the shape and we need to edit the fill value. Let's edit the fill value to solid color and now we will enter color values. We can change these colors later. Now, since we are going to continue with the YouTube concept, let's enter YouTube colors. You can go with any color. I entered the hex code EB2D30 as the YouTube color. After doing this, I draw a circle by holding down the shift key on the keyboard. I leave it at any point and I will need to center it. There is no align panel on the scene. I open the align panel under the window and you will see the align panel here. I center this line both horizontally and vertically. The size of the line is not important for now. In a moment, we will already give this line movement by entering a value. We see that the center point of the circle is in a different place. It is very important that this is also in the center. I take this tool called Pen Behind tool and drag it by pressing the Ctrl key to the shape in the center, towards the center. The reason I press the Ctrl key is to center this anchor point exactly. It will be very difficult to get it exactly in the center. So we make it practical and by pressing the Ctrl key, we can make sure that the center point exactly in the middle of the circle we have drawn. I click on the shape layer, press Enter and let's name it. Naming is important. I will call it Circle 1. I will put it at the beginning of the timeline. I'll press the letter S on the keyboard. That's the initial letter of the scale property. This opens the property where I can resize the object. First, I give the keyframe to the first frame. Then, I move forward 1 second. You can also see the value here to see exactly 1 second. If you want, you can click on this value and edit it. You can type 1 here and directly make the timeline go to 1 second. I need to increment it so that the circle covers the whole screen. Let's increase it to the right. I'm setting it to be 700. 700 is fine for my screen. Now I select both keyframes and right click and select Easy Ease from the keyframe assistant. We are going to open the graph editor and manipulate the keyframes a bit more. Click on this icon and click on the graph editor icon to open the screen. If you don't see it like this, right click on an empty space and select Edit Speed Graph. See, it opens like this because I have this checked. Now I'm going to select these keyframes and move the right one to the left and the left one to the right. By clicking on the dots here, the animation on the screen will stop being static. It will be much more dynamic animation, much more dynamic movement. When the keyframe was at 1, the first keyframe, we should have made its value 0. Let's do that too. And so we will have a growth starting from 0 up to the pixel value we just specified, which will give us animation. Let's examine this by pressing the space key on the keyboard. This is how we have an animation. Now we are done with the graph editor. We can close it. I want to see the timeline a little bit wider. Right now, it's showing seconds. By clicking on the icon on the right, this is our animation now. I select the layer, the circle layer, and I press Ctrl D twice, which means duplicate. I press Ctrl D once, circle 2. It already named it. I press it again, and the third layer appears as circle 3. After doing this, I select circle 2, and I set the starting point of this circle 2 to be at frame 10. I slide it like this. Right now, it's exactly at frame 10. I can see it from here. I set the top one to frame 20. And now, we have one animation after another. Of course, these animations are the same color, so it's not obvious at the moment. In fact, let's do this. Let's make this 20. Let's bring this to the 10th frame of the first second. We can edit this ourselves later. Now, I select the second circle, so I select the second layer. And I click on the color next to the fill value. Let's shift the dot here to white. Let's click on the OK button. Just now, it was not obvious because the colors were the same. Now, the colors are different. The color in between is different. So, we will see these circles, red, white and red. This is slow. It was better before. Let's do them in 10th frames. Let's do the first one in the 10th frame, the second one in the 20th frame, and let's look at again. Yes, it's better this way. We have done the beginning. Now we are going to make the page with the channel name at the end of the animation. Let's transfer the logo we want to use here. This is the logo I edit. I take the logo, I drag it to the top, and I right click on this logo and I choose pre-compose, then click move all attributes and click OK. We make the logo available for use in a separate composition, so we can also double click on it and change the logo from here. When we get to this section, let's make our edits on the logo. I'm adjusting the logo to be the logo first. I'm waiting for the fill effect and adding new solid layer to the background, and I'm adding gradient ramp effect to this layer. And I'm giving the background a movement like this, a color movement. So select these two, and if you only have one logo, you can select one. I'm going to right click again, pressing pre-compose to merge these back together. The reason why we are doing this is because we are going to create a mask for the logo to appear. It will be a round mask. So again, we are going to transfer the logo here into a composition. I call it logo again. I'm clicking on the OK button. Now I'm taking the round tool, the circle tool that we just got, and I'm drawing a circle like this. I will center it again. If you run into a problem like this, if the circle you just drew comes here as a mask, I will undo this with Ctrl Z. We are not supposed to select this layer. I'm clicking on an empty area so that I don't select this layer. With the circle selected, now when I click again, see below, a new shape layer is created. This is our goal here. I'm aligning both horizontally and vertically. We are going to use this circle as a mask, so we will need to make adjustments here. If it is not visible like this, you can make these values, these properties visible by pressing the F4 key from the keyboard. If it is hidden like this, you can make these values, these properties, visible by pressing the F4 key from the keyboard. Or another method is to right click on the field you see as source name and activate mode, switch or parent in the columns section. You can also do the same thing with F4. Now, since the logo will be based on the top shape layer, there is a track matte option. I changed the none value in this option alpha matte. Alpha matte is shape layer 1, so you will see it here as the name of the top layer. As you can see, the area I drew as a circle has turned into a mask. Now I can edit the logo on this area. I press the letter S scale. This is how we can make edits. Since the logo is too big here, I'm going inside the logo and shrink the logo a little bit. I'm moving the position down a little bit and edit it. As you can see, this way I've achieved the result I wanted. To bring the colors a little bit closer, I can move the gradient ramp here, so I can see the bottom right color much more clearly. So that's it. I think the logo layout is done. If you want, you can lower the scale values here by pressing the letter S. I'm going to make this one 80. When I make the bottom 180, they will shrink at the same rate. Now I copy the top shape layer with Ctrl D and move it to the bottom. Let's add a border to this profile image. Shape layer 1 is not visible because we just changed it to a mask. We can activate the visibility of shape layer 2, which we moved to the bottom. I click on the stroke value above. Select solid layer and click OK. When we increase the pixel value next to it, this is how we add border to our image. I make it 90. Now we can move on to the composition we call intro. It looks like this. I think it looks pretty good, but of course, it looks a bit big. I click on the logo layer and press the letter S on the keyboard to shrink it a bit. Now we are going to give this channel logo animation. After it turns red again, I give a keyframe to the scale value. This is currently 50. I make it 0 and I take it a little further to change it to 50. After it turns red, the logo of the channel will also appear. I select both keyframes and activate the ease option by pressing F9 from the keyboard as we did the others. And by opening the graph editor, I shift the point of the one on the left to the right and the point of the one on the right to the left, so that a more beautiful animation appears. The positioning of these keyframes should also be adjusted according to the flow. Let's see. I think it looks good this way. It comes very fast. We can space this out a little more. We can adjust it to be parallel to the others. Let's move it a little bit more to the beginning. Yes, it looks like this. This is how we can preview it. Now we are going to do a little bounce effect. We are going to give this avatar a little bit more movement. So I'm going to make this 55. I'm moving it a little bit further and I'm making this 50. So we are going to do a little jump effect. Let's watch it again. That was too slow. We can speed it up a little bit. Once the channel's avatar is complete, we will change its position. We will write the name of the channel underneath. Once it's in place, I press the letter P on the keyboard, activate the position feature, move the timeline forward a little bit. Then I move the avatar slightly upwards and it automatically adds the keyframe. Now I take the text tool and we will write a text here. We can write it in white color. Let's write the name of the channel and make the edits and choose which character we want to make it in. Let's set the size of the font and center this font in the paragraph tab. And then we will need to center it in the Align panel. After writing our text, let's give this text some movement. Once this area is empty, let's give it a transparency. I'm going to press the letter T on the keyboard, add a keyframe to the opacity value and make it 0. When I move the timeline forward a bit, I set the value to 100% so that our text starts to appear as the avatar moves up. Let's make both keyframes a little more dynamic. I do this by pressing F9 on the keyboard. After selecting the keyframes, I press F9 on the keyboard. I open the graph editor. Let's make these edits, as we have done many times in this tutorial. We can close the graph editor. Now I check it again. It has become much more dynamic. I prefer to write the fonts in small fonts. Now let's check it again completely. The edits we made from the beginning. In this way, I think it's done. If there is something that doesn't look good to your eye, you can play the keyframes here to edit the timing, so you can even get different results. After that, it's up to you to decide for yourself. As I said, it doesn't have to be red. We can also make different variations of this. Let's do an example right away. I changed the red sides to gray 333 333. 1 and 3 should already be the same color. They can be different colors by the way. The color in between can stay white, for example, or we can change the color in between to another color. We can do it yellow, for example. Yes, in this video, I showed you how to make an intro for your YouTube channel. That's it for this video. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.